All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I'm super excited to have one of my favorite listing agents, Diego Herra of Keller Williams. Hi, Diego.
Hi, Marissa.
And we are excited to bring to you some information on the Buy Before You Sell program. And let's get started on how this program works. First of all, this program is a game changer in the market that we're in, and we're going to cover that together. But the first step that you need to do, you guys, is qualify for a loan program. And that's where I come into place. It's just you need to qualify to purchase a loan on a conventional loan. And we're going to use the equity position in your departing residence for your down payment. And you're going to be able to purchase a new home before even selling that home, right, Diego?
Absolutely.
So how does that work? I mean, for me, it's easy. It's just a qualification on your first mortgage. But tell me about your experience, because we just closed the transaction. But tell me about your experience on when you're out there for home buyers wanting to sell their home. What do they need to do?
Home buyers obviously need to get started with the qualification process. They will, your company will run a value for their house, and they're pretty realistic. They're not super conservative either.
Right. So those numbers are going to be based on what your listing agent is willing to sell your house for. And what happens is we have actually a new tool that was released yesterday, makes it a lot easier for us, but we're going to give you up to 80% of the value of your home to put towards the down payment and subtracting out if you have a mortgage on there, right, currently. So you're going to get that equity position. And then what happens is your real estate agent is you're going to be able to go out, look for a home while your real estate agent sells your house. But what my favorite thing about this program is you're not in a position that you're going to have to just rush to list for that contingent offer. So before we go into further details on each specifics of that program and how it works, Diego, what is the biggest thing that you're seeing right now in the market when it comes to home buyers getting an accepted offer?
The market that we were at, Castro Valley, very competitive. I'd say probably average of 13 offers per home.
Wow. Okay.
And what are the odds of them accepting a contingent offer?
Right.
Zero.
Right. And you guys, if
Zero.
you don't know what a contingent offer is, if you're a home buyer, you got to sell your house first. So you've got to meet those requirements first. And there's no guarantee in that. And when a seller is looking to sell their home, they want a guaranteed loan approval, right? Not
Absolutely.
and timing, right? The
Yes.
number one question I get asked is, Marissa, how quickly can you close this loan? Because it's all on that competitiveness that we're in on that market. And this program solves that problem altogether. It completely eliminates it. So I want to know the benefits, Diego. You as a listing agent, what I love about your mind is it's a thinker. And when you brought this client to me, there you were looking at doing renovations and all of
Yep.
that kind of stuff to sell their house for more. So there is huge benefits in being able to utilize a program like this just in time constraints, right? So typically when I talk to a client and they have a home to sell, the first thing they say is, what if I don't sell my house or I can't find a buyer? And it's that worry, right?
Yeah.
That fear of, I'm not going to be able to do this, or I'm not going to be able to do it in the time, or they find a house that they really, really like and they want to place an offer, but there's all of this baggage of owning this home that they have, and they don't have the liquidity to be able to do it or even qualify for that mortgage, right? So there's benefit in being able to purchase a home, close on your home that you're going to buy first. And then you can take the time allotted to be able to sell and not have to rush just to take that first offer that comes onto the table, right? So
Sure.
as a listing agent, Diego, what would you do for somebody looking to sell their house, and get the max amount of equity out of their home?
So, the best thing I always tell them, depending on the condition of the house, but having the house vacant, there's a significant increase between a vacant house and a house that's occupied with a seller there's always a big difference. Just having the house vacant, in that market, we're at least talking between 25 to 50,000 from a vacant house to an occupied house at the bare minimum.
Okay.
Right.
Why do you
Now,
think that is?
just because that you get that new house smell. The house is empty. People, most people that live in their home is not like a stage home. They have things everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we as agents try to declutter, but it's still not going to be the same as an empty home or a stage home, even better.
Mm-hmm.
So we always note when we run value on, hey, Mr. Seller, you have to stay there. That's great. Here's what I suspect the value would be. Or Mr. Seller, if the house was vacant and we decided to paint it, throw some new carpet on it or whatever we're going to do to it, big difference in price.
Right. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. I remember when you brought this client to me, you were like looking at listing around 1.5, 1.6. And after renovations, you were mentioning 1.8. That's a huge significant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's $200,000 cash money in their pocket.
Yeah, because the house definitely needed some work.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're doing work, it's a big difference in price.
Okay. And now you have the time to be able to do that, right?
Oh yeah. For this client, the renovation's already started.
Okay.
They painted the house already. The landscaping's done. They're moving out this week. As soon as they move out, we have contractors ready to start Monday morning to finish the inside of the house. And we're talking about a week worth of work. Not too bad.
Wow. Only a week. So and this is in, wait, where's this house located? Castro Valley?
The house that they bought is in Castro Valley. The house that they're going to be selling is in Danville.
Okay, so super desirable area. That's going to get picked up like that, right?
Yep, large single story, big lot. People are going to love it.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and that's like $200,000 difference in equity they're going to get. So here's the benefit, you guys. For this particular client that purchased, they only had a mortgage of like $300,000 on their home. So all of that equity, they're getting back, right? They're going to get back, and they had the new home that they're purchasing that they just closed escrow on a couple weeks ago. Their mortgage is only like $330,000, but they're going to be able to recast their loan. That is something that does not happen on any program nowadays. So when Diego sells this property, they can take more money, they can pay off their mortgage, or they can rewrite the terms of their loan with a lower principal balance, which is going to lower their payment even more. And so there's huge value in being able to utilize this program just to lower payment options is all right. It's all about the strategic planning and financing and how are we going to make homeownership affordable, but be able to get an offer accepted in this market that we're in. And that is where this program is game changer for anybody looking to sell a home. What condition of the property, what type of condition should the property be in for a house that is going to be departing, right? That's a question that people have asked me recently. For us, for our investors to go in and do what they're going to do and purchase the home, if they need to purchase the home, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, they need to at least have a strong foundation and a roof. That's what they care about. It needs to have the bathrooms and all of that. So when we did this project, Diego, you guys had to send me 10 pictures, right? Yes. I filled out the form. You sent me 10 pictures of the house in current condition. We went in and we did an estimated value based on that, just to make sure that there was, it was in a line with what you're looking to do. Sure. But then we went in and said, this is what's happening. This is our game plan. These are the renovations that's going to be done. And this is the price that I'm going to actually be listing it for, right? And so that value that we gave and that equity line that we gave to them was based on that 80%. And so let's talk about the details of that. And this is how the actual program works is we're going to give 80% of whatever Diego decided to list the property at. So minus the current loan balance that you have on the property. So all of that surplus of money is able to go towards your down payment and closing cost. My client even got $35,000 back after close of escrow to help pay for moving expenses, to help cover her mortgage for the next couple of months, while Diego's going to be working on renovating her house and then selling it and listing it. So she's covered. She's comfortable. She don't have to worry about 2 mortgage payments. There are 2 mortgage payments that are there because we didn't sell that house yet, but we made sure that there's enough money in there that she's covering all of the cost and the expense, right? The next thing is going to be, how long do you have to sell this house? This is how that works. So Diego has to list the home on the open market, right? Within 10 days of closing on the primary residence purchase that they just did. So 10 days is the amount of time that it has to be listed. And then he's got 90 days to sell the house. If the home doesn't sell, which every home has sold within 90 days, and we've only had one that we've had to step in and do this on, our investor will go in and they write a backup offer. That backup offer is for 80% of whatever that list price was. It's that equity amount just to make sure that we collect enough money to pay those costs, right? And then he gets an extension, 120 more days to sell the house. So within 8 months time frame, that house is going to be sold, especially in an area like Danville. And there's restrictions on this type of investment. When our investors are going in and they're risking their funds like this, there are requirements that do have to be met. You know, our client does need to be able to purchase on a conventional loan. It's not going to be a VA, FHA loan. And the home that they're selling, that's being sold, it has to meet the requirements. So it can be a single family residence, it can be a condo, it can be 1 to 4 unit properties. All of that is fine. They pretty much want that house, no matter what, whoever's purchasing it, to be financeable through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And those are the guidelines that they're going off to make sure that if they take a house and we have to step in and buy it, it's going to be sold within that 8-month time frame, right? So that's how that portion of the financing of it works, in which our investors are stepping in to purchase that home. Diego, do you want to cap on any of that with your experience that you had?
Yeah, I think one thing that I want to highlight on the agent side, here's the difference when you're using this program compared to when if I was going in there competing against 13 offers, which was probably typical of what the houses that we looked at, I would be contingent on selling their property. I would be at the bottom of the stack. The only way I would overcome the fact that we're contingent, and this is what most agents do, is they make sure they put the highest offer possible in order for the seller to take a contingent offer. Reverse that compared to when we're coming in with this program. You know, I'm showing a huge amount down now,
right?
And we're going with much greater strength. We're using all the equity to show the strength of our buyer. We don't need to sell the house in order to buy this. We can close quickly. Now, the agent that I was working with on the listing side, I'm sorry, on the house that we bought, she wasn't familiar with the program, so I did explain it, and then we tag team, and I had you come in and kind of explain the process. That's kind of what sealed the sale for us.
It's guaranteed money, 0% equity line based off the sale of their house. No appraisal needed, no nothing needed. We already have the approval done. And so that's the thing. It's solidifying that portion of the funding, right? It's cash. They get it. I mean, they had that money in escrow super, super fast, ready to go. This literally was, I mean, we closed this really fast, right, Diego?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it was 15 to 17 days, something like that.
Super, super, super fast. We closed it on time. And I know how Diego is. I always make sure my deals close on time with him. So 15-day escrow, but and she was out of town, which was great. So, you know, just conventional financing, you guys, that home equity line that they're getting to pay for their down payment is 0% interest. So are there fees associated with doing, hi, cutie. So are there fees associated with doing this program? Yeah, there are. But there's no loan, because even though we're giving a loan for that 0% equity lock, they don't have any out-of-pocket fees for that portion of it. Now, at close of escrow, they're going to pay a 2.4% funding fee for utilizing that portion of it, which to me, that is nothing. With Diego being able to go in and do everything that he said, increasing them $200,000 more in equity. I mean, 2.4% is pennies. To be able to purchase the home, have 8 months to be able to sell the property. It really does make sense, don't you think, Diego?
It's a huge difference. So as is the house that we will be selling for them, they had another agent say, hey, we could sell it as this with you in there. We're thinking maybe between 1.5 to 1.6, right? And we're projecting so much higher now that we have the time to fix it up,
Right.
do all the little repairs that we need to do it, and the house is going to look brand new.
Okay. And it's Danville. Like, that's desirable.
Yeah.
That's going to go so fast. It's ridiculous. And I can't wait to see the after pictures. I'm super
Oh,
excited.
it's going to be, it already looks so much different now. So I'll definitely send you the professional photos once we're done. But the house, the landscaping was all overgrown. So now it looks beautiful. It's got the Gorilla Bark, brand new Gorilla Bark in the front. It really showcases the beautiful yard. The
Okay.
house now is already like 100 times better.
That's awesome. And
Well,
I loved these clients. We worked with them for so long because they wanted a specific home in a specific
yeah.
area, right?
All right, they wanted to be in a certain neighborhood, and because of lack of inventory, I mean, we had maybe 1 to 2 houses a month that came on the market that would even meet what they're looking for.
Right.
And the comment I had when we gave them the keys was like, I never thought this was possible. My mom always wanted us to be in Castro Valley in this particular neighborhood. It's called Columbia. I don't know if anyone's gone to Coal Canyon with that beautiful man-made lake. I guess it's a lake, but they call it lagoon.
Okay.
Right? It's right there. It's one of the most beautiful parts of Castro Valley.
Wow.
And they can walk there.
People have asked me, and I know this was something that our client was, what is the risk, Marissa? What is the risk of doing a program like this, right? There's really no risk. You're paying the fee, and then that just depends on how good of a real estate agent you're working with, right?
I think the only risk is if you don't have a good team working for you.
That's
right. So I always work with licensed contractors. That's a must. All right. So I know the work that they do is fantastic. Throw a shout out to Sergio from Rose Construction. He works a lot for new home builders.
okay.
When he works with new home builders, they're so picky because the buyers get to walk through and pick any little item so they always do an amazing job. So when they do a residential house, it's cakewalk for them. It's so much easier for them. So I know that the quality is going to be there. When we run value, I have my thing is I always make sure that if this was my house and my money, what am I going to do for repairs from the contractor? And I'm going to try to push value as high as possible as well.
That's what we should be doing for clients, though, right, Diego? I mean,
we should, but it's oftentimes so. Let me say some things. I always see things where agent posts, "Hey, I sold the house $50,000 over," or "I sold the house $100,000 over." Did you list it lower to get the higher price,
right?
Or did you really push the value? So I often I pride myself, and I always tell my sellers this: okay, hey, we sold the highest in the neighborhood for the square footage. Or do you want to list it at 400 and get 475 for it, or list it at 499 and get 510 for it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, so when I see agents brag about how much over, to me that's not a brag. To me, is what did the rest of the houses sell for?
Yes,
right?
that's right. That's right. I've seen those types of things too. And I mean, it makes it look good as far as a track record, but what is the why in you selling your house in the first place? And what if you're working with an agent that's going to get you even more than that 50,000, right? And sometimes it's just doing those little extra tidbits that you do. Um,
Absolutely. So
yeah.
one of the things that we do that I love is most agents don't spend the extra money. I consider that as a standard. So I'm going to do professional photos for this house. I'm doing the drone. I'm throw another shout out. 39 Pixels is my photographer.
Great.
Brent and his team are incredible. They have the drone video. They have the floor plan of the house. It's not me with my cell phone camera. And I swear that I've seen this. If you go on the MLS right now, you can see what agent used their cell phone cameras to list $1 million house. And it just shocks me every time. We
Wow.
don't do that. So we do the professional photos. I always pay for professional house cleaning. I do that because it's the difference between you cleaning your car out and having it professionally done by a professional car cleaning place. All right. It's just a huge difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, those little details that matter. We do all the inspections and reports up front, so we have it as clean as possible. So when a buyer does get in contract, they have all the inspections to make any decision they want on it.
Okay, see, that's one of the things that I love, right? Because there's a lot, I mean, us as real estate agents and lenders, we work for free until the loan closes, right? That's
Yep.
it. So, and I'm a firm believer in is you got to spend money to make money. You got to spend money just to do a good job for your clients. The worst thing that I can't stand as a lender is doing all of this work and then 5 days later, my client gets an inspection back. They've spent $500. I mean, that's $500 that they, shouldn't have needed to spend if the agent asked for those reports and everything up front to know if they're going to even move forward with that transaction or what's the solution to even move forward with that transaction. So I love that your team does that. Just as a listing agent alone, that definitely helps a buyer coming out into your property. That's good work, Diego. Good work.
Yeah, we make sure all the so we use a program called Disclosure IO. We have all the disclosures, all the reports up front. Sometimes if we can't get the repairs done, just because of the termite companies or the roof companies, they're weeks out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put on there what the seller's willing to do for repairs.
Okay, and I have a question for you.
Sure.
With market trends, current market trends that are happening right now, how would utilizing the buy before you sell program, you think it's more of a positive thing right now in this market? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Anytime you have more purchasing power, right? That's going to put you above anyone else. Even if there's no other offers, it's still a better program. And if you need to sell your house, it'll give you time so you're not rushing out of the house. Right now, the other way to do it, let's talk about the opposite way to do it. Opposite way to do it is you list your house for sale. You try to do repairs while you're living in the house. You declutter while you're living in the house. You're going to have people in and out of your house, selling your house when you're doing open houses. You have to be out of the house when we're doing open houses for 3 to 4 hours each weekend until the house solds. Or you can have the house vacant, completely remodeled. You're getting top dollar. House is staged. The photos look better because it's professionally staged, professionally cleaned, new fresh paint. And we're not talking spending a lot of money. The house we're talking about, and I'll just give this out to you. So we're having a house professionally painted. We're changing some carpet, putting some new doorknobs and hinges. Not a huge remodel. So for a we'll probably be between 1.8 to 1.9 million as the list price.
Wow.
We're spending 29 grand.
Wow.
Not much. And that's from a professional contractor. That's not a handyman, right? This is someone that's doing professional job. So painting the outside, painting the inside of the house. The house is already in great condition, but it's so much harder to sell a house with people's stuff in it.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about y'all, but I'm a super private person. So even thinking about listing my house for sale would be, horrible for me. And I couldn't imagine having to be here to go through it. I'd rather just be gone, done, wipe my hands of it, off in my new land. And then Diego, you get to handle everything else.
Yeah, and the conversations we have when people live in the house, it can be complicated.
Right.
It's the conversations, hey, once we have the house clean, we need to keep it that way. We're going to have people come in and out of the house. We're going to, make sure to lock up any personal items, put the medication away, make sure the dogs are outside in a certain place. I mean, it's a much more difficult conversation as a listing agent than when the house is vacant.
Yeah. I'm just now realizing I'd be the worst seller ever with all my kids and my animals and no time to do anything that you want me to do. Ugh.
Oh yeah, no, I'd probably say, Marissa, we can't have the dogs in the house while we're showing it, or we can't. I know you have a couple. You have a bunch of kids that live in the house. Guess what? I need them all gone throughout our open house. Nobody can be there. Right. So the sellers really do have to bend over backwards for us to make it happen, for us to do our job at our fullest. So a program like this just helps out so much.
So I'm super glad that I have you, Diego, to guide me through that process. Okay. But speaking of guiding us through the process, take me through that real fast before we wrap this up. Take me through the process as a new buyer. I'm coming to meet you for the first time. What do we do first, Diego?
So that's the number one question. When I do an open house and I've never met the buyer before, or they're calling me, it's a referral, or if they're calling me from one of my signs, my first question is, has someone went through the entire real estate process with you? You know what the answer I always get? Regardless if they're working with an agent or if they're not working with an agent, they'll say, no, no one has. All right. Because most agents put the cart before the horse. They want to start showing the property before analyzing the property. Because I guarantee there's agents that have worked with sellers that this program would have been a much better solution for them, especially with older clients. They don't want to move twice. I've seen scenarios that I've talked to the seller. We had the buyer and the seller was moving in with their kids until they found a house, right? And just, can you imagine how much more difficult that is compared to the process that we're talking about now?
It's stressful. It's already a stressful thing to buy a house, right? You're making the biggest purchase of your life and add that all in on top of it. I can't imagine especially life situations. You don't know what's going on in someone's life. I just had a first-time home buyer that was super pregnant that decided to buy a new home construction, right? Yep. And that was just like delay after delay with the new home construction stuff. And they were like, never again. And I was thinking it could be so much worse, which it is a lot of the time.
So the first question I ask them, have someone told you, gone through the process with you? That's when you do your need analysis. That's where you recommend whatever the best solution is. When you recommend the best loan for someone, I'm recommending the best way to sell their house. So if someone says, hey, we have this house in, I'll just say something local in Manteca, we want to move to Tracy. Okay, well, let's talk about that. My elderly dad lives with us. He's not doing too well. I really don't want to move him more than once. We have a ton of equity. We want to buy the house, but we keep getting outbid. I want to work with you, Diego, to make that happen. Is that something you can do? Yeah, I'm going to put all the pieces together for them and show them how to do that. Now, not every house needs a contractor to do it. I've been in homes where they just take care of the property. I just sold that house in Stockton where the seller, he was the type of guy I'd want to buy a used car from because his house is immaculate, right? The little things that needed to be done weren't a big deal. So, we'll go to the house, evaluate it. And if the house does need work, we have a licensed contractor go out there. I have a couple different ones that we work with and get quotes and estimates for. We also want to make sure that whatever house that they're buying makes sense for them. So I don't care. Like, people always complain about picky buyers. I love picky buyers because they know what they want.
Right.
Yeah. The worst buyer to me is like, I've had buyers where, hey, we want to buy a house. Great. Where are you looking for? Modesto, Manteca, Tracy, Stockton, Sacramento, Folsom, maybe Brentwood. And I kid you not, they just don't know. So now,
Everywhere.
now it's like, oh, I work from home remote, so I could be anywhere that makes sense. Well, those are much more difficult buyers. The buyers that I love working with, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath under this price with a 2-car garage. We'd love a pool. It's very specific. Now I just have to find that very specific home. And our team does the best at finding someone's home. So so I've taught the class on how to do that. So I'm going to just give you a 2-minute intro to that.
Perfect.
We scour the entire market better than any other team. So I teach a class on this. So one of the things I do is if someone says, hey, I want to be in Chadwick Square in Manteca. So I know that specific neighborhood is, and I know those type homes. Well, I look there and there's nothing on the market. So what do? Well, I'm going to call any of the expired homes that couldn't sell and say, hey, we have a buyer for your home. Does that work? I'm going to call the top 100 agents, not 50 agents, the top 100 agents that sell in that area and say, hey, what do you have coming up? I have a great buyer. She's qualified with Marissa. What do you have coming up? We have a great buyer. We'd love to see it before it comes on the market. The question I always ask buyers, have you ever seen a house and 0 days on the market? It just comes up and it comes up pending. Well, it's because agents, either in their office or agents that they know, have already seen the house and already wrote an offer before you even hit the market. Most houses now, especially, we know several weeks ahead of time before they're going to come on the market because they need to be painted or dry rot repairs, or there's still inspections needed. So there's ways for us to find it. You just have to find an agent that will go that extra mile for you. If that same little area, they want to be in Chadwick Square, I'm going to look at all the rental properties available for that. Now, and the question I will ask that person that's renting a house, hey, I know your house is for rent. Would you look at an offer at current market value for your house? And we've sold houses that way for sure. We look at for sale by owners. We look at any other avenue to find the house, because that's kind of the extra level of search that you have to do now.
Well, that just like ding, ding light for me. That's one of the reasons why I like Keller Williams, because you guys are huge you guys dominate with listings, right? And so if I'm a buyer, I want to go where the most listings are. And I've firsthand witnessed the back and forth before, and even just sitting in even at your classes. Hey, what's coming on the market? Well, in about a month, this is releasing. And I'm like, ding, 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 I've got a buyer in that area. Oh my gosh, right? And so that is amazing that you guys have that opportunity and that intel to be able to put buyers into homes and just know and write those offers super fast. Because if you're not working with an agency like that, buyer fatigue is a real thing, and they just forget it, throw their hands up. I don't want to do this anymore. And it's a lot of work for an agent to be out there showing 29 properties and writing 20 offers and not getting anything accepted. So these contingency programs, those contingencies matter when you're writing an offer, making sure that you're qualified for your mortgage, not just qualified, but comfortable with your payment. Yeah. When you send a client to me, the first thing I do, when I get their application, I get their documentation. Okay, this is the max you're qualified for, because they all want an $800,000 house, but have a $500,000 limit, right? And payment. And so it's, how are we going to make home ownership affordable, especially with rates being at, 20-year highs, because that's the reality of it. There's solutions to that, but it's strategically planning that out with the resources that we have and the tools that Diego has in order to find the best house, somebody that's willing to give credits that's needed, somebody that's willing to, help with the temporary buy down option, but really utilizing these tools and strategic planning that we work together on as a team in order to help homeowners be successful when writing their offers. Right, Diego?
Absolutely. And it's when you're a professional like yourself, you've been doing this forever.
Mhm.
How often do you get people call you, hey, this happened? You're like, oh, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Experience matters. I see that all the time. On my side, it like just that's why when I see other listings on mistake, I'm just like, oh, poor sellers. You know, they did this.
Right.
So I just recently went to a property, we looked at it, and the listing agent thought it was a great idea to use instead of professional photos, they put cell phone images. And there was only one image of the house. And the image was the worst picture I've ever seen. Well, we see the house and we're like, great. And me as a experienced agent, I see blood and water. I know I'm going to out negotiate this agent. Um, I know that there's no inspections done. So my clients, I'm going to ask for all the repairs to be done. Um, I mean, that's the type of advantage that someone experienced is going to have.
That's exactly, that's what I see. That's what I see when I work with you. And that's why I love working with you so much. But it's a very competitive market. So first step, when you come to a real estate agent, he's just going to send you to me, right? So we need to see what's affordable in the first place and really plan out, because even if you can't, or you think, most home buyers disqualify themselves. They don't even know what they're qualified for. I mean, I've got clients that are reaching out to me saying, Marissa, my credit's not good enough and I currently own a home and it's 2.5% interest rate. What do I do? Because their why is bigger than what their current situation is.
Oh.
So I've got somebody that I qualified yesterday that they're leaving their 2.5% interest rate in El Dorado and they're moving back to Galt because that's where their kids are still going to school and they can't do the travel anymore. So don't disqualify yourself, because there's solutions in order to make homeownership affordable. That's what I'm for. And I'm going to strategically plan out with you what your qualifying power is based off your current situation. And if your current situation's not good, guess what? That can be changed. And we can
Yeah.
do that together by us educating you, because whether it's now, 30 days from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, you're going to be a qualified homeowner as long as you have in place a strategic plan, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I said everything I need to say. Do you want to end anything?
No, I think it's a great program. It's even better for the right family.
Right.
Um, it's not going to work with everyone. If you just bought your house last year, it's probably not the best situation.
Right.
If you have a ton of equity and your house needs some work, it's going to be a perfect solution for that.
And I'm the one who's going to tell you, let's do this. It's options. Marissa, what can I do? We'll lay out that roadmap to home ownership for you. We'll supply all your options. And then Diego's going to find you that perfect home to fit your needs. Right?
Awesome.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope that we were able to bring something of value. I know having Diego on, I always am bringing something to value. I always get something, little tidbits and nuggets from him. So thank you so much, Diego. And give us a call when you're ready to buy. All of our information is to follow.
Thank you.